3 years ago, in a mine shaft 250 feet below a sunny Arizona day, two guys struck gold. Actually, better than gold. They struck denim. Buried under a century of rocks and rubble, they found 7 pairs of 19th century jeans that are collectively worth way more than their weight in gold, at least $300,000. That's because crusty old jeans, even scraps of them, are in unbelievably short supply and unbelievably high demand. And if you were conscious for even 30 seconds of an econ class, you know what that means: people acting nuts. But why all the demand? It's not like jeans are hard to come by nowadays. At least 1 billion pairs are produced a year, and you can get these war crimes for under $25. The market's persistent thirst for vintage denim has its roots in the decidedly working class, sometimes rebellious, extremely American history of blue jeans. See, in 1873, when Levi's first patented the riveted, indigo-dyed cotton twill pants we know and love today, they were workwear. And to be clear, that's workwear as in wear them while you work in the mines, not wear them while you work on a video about pants for people who mostly aren't wearing any. And clothes for miners and factory workers have to be durable and functional, which for early jeans meant large pockets in convenient places, a high stitch count to prevent rips, and copper rivets reinforcing the parts of the garment most prone to tearing. But it only took a few decades for jeans to become an everyday thing and an American icon. In the 30s and 40s, cowboy movies made jeans the patron part of cool guys on horses. During World War II, Americans wore them to work in the military-industrial complex at home and abroad. Post-war, teens took them up to be rebels, and soon enough, blue jeans were as American as apple pie. And as American cultural influence spread in the mid-20th century, everyone wanted a slice of that pie. In Japan, importing jeans was illegal until the late 50s, so a huge black market for secondhand jeans sprung up in Ueno, Tokyo. In the 60s, Levi's sales were banned in East Germany, but when their economy was in the toilet in the late 70s, the East German government requested Levi's send them 800,000 pairs to sell to the cool American pants-wanting masses. But most Americans didn't know how much money their jeans could fetch overseas, so instead of getting into the resale market, they wore them to shreds or cut them up to use as packing material. Demand abroad outpaced demand in the US by so much that Japanese sellers would actually buy those packing scraps, stitch them back together into jeans, and sell them. All this is to say, vintage jeans have long since been both an American icon and a good product, so the demand isn't a total surprise. But in their 150-year history, a truly impressive parade of forces have kept supply low. From the Levi's patent stopping anyone from making riveted pants until 1892, to a warehouse fire in 1906 that destroyed a ton of Levi's inventory, to post-depression Americans clinging to their jeans instead of selling or replacing, to import restrictions post-war, to labor strikes in garment factories in the 70s. So now, if you want one of those iconic pairs of yesteryear jeans instead of these horror shows, you gotta know how to look for them. Luckily, it's not hard for the layman to date a pair of Levi's. You just need to take them out to a nice dinner, engage with their interests, be communicative— no, that's a stupid joke, not reading the rest of that. Here's how you figure out how old a pair of Levi's are. There are a few features that tip you off to a really old pair. Early Levi's, produced around the time of the Chinese Exclusion Act, had a racist little label on the inside pocket that said, "the only kind made by white labor," which is definitely not cool, but definitely does tell you the pants are old. The company stopped printing that sometime in the 1890s. Other signs aren't as racist. For example, the company didn't start using belt loops until 1922, so a buckle-back pair is likely older than that. In 1937, they started covering up rivets on the back to stop them from scratching up seats. From 1936 to 1970, the brand name on the little red tag on the back had a capital E. Before 1967, Levi's printed washing information on the inside pocket, but after that, they started putting it on separate care labels. So if there's a care label at all, your jeans are from after 1967. If that care label has the Levi's logo on it in red or black, it's from at least the mid-80s. And if that care label is huge and looks like a little booklet, it's probably from after 2003. And on most of these tags, in the jumble of numbers, you can find the actual time and place the pants were made. This is the factory code, which is also on the back of the fly button. On this pair of pants, it's 513, one of the few that mean made in the USA. This is the style of pants, 550s, this is more info about the denim, and this is the month and year they were made, in this case, January 1997. So by the common definition of vintage, items that are at least 20 years old, these are vintage. But they're not the most valuable. They don't use the selvage denim of the old days, nor are they from particularly early in jeans history. If you want to find a really valuable pair of jeans, the kind that fetch 5 or more figures at auction, you need to look a little harder than my writer did. That's what so-called denim archaeologists do, buying jean jackets off of passerbys' backs, sifting through attics and trunks in abandoned houses, and yes, rappelling down into 100-year-old mine shafts hoping to find jeans left behind in 1888. If you're typing out a comment where you refer to these denim archaeologists as Indiana jeans, I'm sorry to inform you, they've already thought of that. But go ahead and post it anyways, it's still funny. Denim archaeology is a musty, dusty, risky business. There's a reason your parents taught you not to play in abandoned silver mines. But a good find can net tens of thousands of dollars, like the mine-found pair that, despite some noisy skeptics claiming they're not actually from the 1880s, still sold at auction for over $87,000, and are currently only available for viewing by appointment in Los Angeles, an appointment my outside correspondent Amy obviously got. So moral of the story, go play in those mines. There'd be gold down there. Or just, I don't know, thrift some jeans. I'm not the boss of you. But if I was the boss of you, I might tell you to sign up for this video's sponsor, HelloFresh. Now, there's a reason why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit delivery service. Every week, they send you pre-portioned ingredients and foolproof recipes so you can have a delicious home-cooked meal no matter your skill level. That means you get all the upsides of home cooking, tasty, fresh, unique, interesting meals at an affordable price with fewer of the downsides. You don't have to go to the grocery store, you don't have to plan, you don't have to throw away all your extra ingredients. This is why I've been a loyal HelloFresh customer since 2020. I used to spend way too much money on takeout, which was bad for me and my wallet, but now that HelloFresh has taken all the hassle out of cooking at home, I'm eating a lot more this and a lot less this. So if you're ready to give it a try, go to HelloFresh.com and use code 50HAI at checkout to get 50% off plus free shipping. Plus, you'll be supporting this channel when you do.